Is Clemson overrated? That's the question we're going to try to answer today. Hello, Internet, and welcome to this week's Game Addicted Show. My name is Alex, and we're here to break down Clemson football to see, are they overrated or are they maybe underrated? So let's find out. But before we dive into Clemson, I'd just like to remind people, if you enjoyed today's content, please consider leaving a like. And if you'd like to catch up on week-to-week college football action, we cover college football teams every week using the VPI formula, which, if you haven't heard of, something I made up, where I look at teams' strength of schedule, their opponent's total offense, total defense. We mix it all together, and we come up with our rankings. So if you enjoyed that, please consider subscribing. We're looking to build a community. Any subscription always goes a long way to get the conversation going on, who really deserves to be in our top 25 and who maybe needs a little more work. So let's answer the question, is Clemson football overrated? Well, let's dive into a few different subjects here. First, let's look at their conference, the ACC. The ACC is currently ranked 5th amongst all conferences, not just Power 5 conferences. And actually, the American Athletic Conference is currently ranked ahead of the ACC. One thing they need to note of is that they actually have 4 top 25 teams in the AP polls. We'll see what the committee declares there. But the ACC only has 2 with, of course, Clemson and Wake Forest. So if you're going to take one team from your 4 best conferences, is Clemson amongst those 4? Currently, no. But we can't just look at conferences. We have to look at their non-conference schedule and who they played throughout the season. So let's jump into Clemson's schedule. Who did they play? Who did they beat? Well, they've beaten everybody. You've seen they're undefeated. And Clemson currently ranks 95th out of 130 schools in their strength of schedule of the teams they've played, not the teams they still have remaining. So who do they still play and who have they beaten that might be hurting or helping them? Well, the team they just faced with Wolford is an FCS school, so that's probably the worst team on their schedule, which really brings down their strength of schedule. But who's the best team they've beaten? Well, that would be Louisville, who is unranked, but I would say is just a few spots out of being a top 25 team. I'd probably have them ranked at the number 34 spot using our VPI formula. So if Louisville continues to win, that could help boost Clemson's strength of schedule. So covering the teams they've already beaten, let's look at the teams they still have to face. Their best opponent left is Wake Forest, who is a top 25 team. And the thing about that is that if that's their best team and then Clemson goes on to the ACC championship game, that's really it. Wake Forest is as good as it gets for the ACC conference. Remember, they have no other ranked team. These are the only 2 ranked teams in the top 25. Now, will the committee sneak one in? I'm doubtful. Again, Louisville is the only team that might have a shot at still being ranked by season's end. I don't know how the season's going to play out, but there's not much help. So 95th out of 130 teams in the strength of schedule up to this point. Number 5 amongst Power 5 conferences for the ACC. So what argument can we make for Clemson to be in the top 25? You have to look at the fact that they are undefeated. That's a major feat on their own. For any team to run the table, being currently 9-0 is a major accomplishment, regardless if you have a weak strength of schedule. Again, 95th out of 130 schools at this point in time. And then we look at Clemson's conference with the ACC, who is ranked 5th behind the American Athletic Conference. Luckily for Clemson, nobody takes the American Athletic Conference seriously. Even though you should, they are very good and having a great season. I'm sorry, SMU, for that upset that you suffered to Memphis. But nonetheless, the ACC is still a Power 5 conference, and there's still a great amount of respect within that. So, does Clemson deserve to be a top 5 team? Survey says okay, let me explain. So the VPI formula I use, I look at a team's strength of schedule and their opponent's total offense, total defense. And I use that to calculate where teams fall according to what they've accomplished this season. And Clemson currently ranks number 5. So are they overrated? I mean, it's hard to say. A team that's ranked number 4 in the AP polls would rank number 5 here. So I'm not going to say they're overrated because we're talking about a fraction of a percent that separates them between the teams in front of them. With this exception, Ohio State, which is far beyond everybody else. But we'll get into that in another video. But no, Clemson is not overrated. They should definitely be considered in the playoff conversation. They still have a big matchup against Wake Forest waiting for them, and along with their conference title game, assuming they win out. But Clemson, you are walking a tightrope here. This win you had over Wolford really hurting your strength schedule, and I don't like when conferences do that. The SEC, I'm looking at you. You're notorious for this, but at this moment, I could legitimately tell you that I believe Clemson should be a playoff contender team. Will that play out? We'll wait and see. So that's this week's episode of the Game Addicted Show. Thank you for tuning in. I enjoyed doing this little deep dive into Clemson. I hope you guys did too. Again, a like and subscribe goes a long way in building this channel. Let me know who you think should be in the top 5. And also, is Clemson overrated in your eyes? Again, I'm just using my numbers to calculate if they belong in the top 5, but I'd like to hear your reasoning out. So we will be diving into a few other teams this week, but I really appreciate all the time you guys spent watching these videos and building this community. So until next time, guys, goodbye.